Thank you.
Hey, hello world, what's up? Welcome to Build. I'm your host, Matt Forte. We are here live at the Build Studio in New York City. Our next guest is a very, very busy man. He's got his wildly popular podcast, The Fighter and the Kid. His hit show, Schooled, was recently renewed for season 2, and his latest comedy special, Complicated Apes, is now available on Amazon Prime. Folks, the great Bryan Callen is here. How about that? Make some noise for Bryan. He's awesome. He's here. Excited? Everybody's very excited. We're going to bring him out in just a moment, but first, I believe we have a trailer for the special, so let's go ahead and run that clip.
The left is rooted in the idea of compassion for the weak, and the right's rooted in the idea of respect for the strong. And they break up, though, in very different behaviors. There's you got all the vegans over here, all the hunters over here. This side likes yoga and Pilates. This side lifts weights and works construction. This side believes in therapy. This side believes in prayer, booze, and opiates. As white Americans, we come from a very optimistic culture. We're raised to believe you can be anything you want to be. And Russians are like, no. Got a 10-year-old daughter walking around the world. Any grown man just driving a van around should be arrested immediately.
Ladies and gentlemen, make a crazy amount of noise. Bryan Callen's right here. Come on.
All right. Do I talk into this? I can't stand watching myself, but anyway.
I got news for you. We're going to watch the whole thing. We're going to make you sit right
Good,
here.
fantastic.
We're going to zoom in.
Man, just what I need.
That's how we start the show.
Oh, my God.
It's just the entire thing front to back.
I know. Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here and hanging out with us, man. It's so cool to have you back on the show.
Your shoes are hypnotic.
Oh,
I
thank
appreciate
you.
that.
Well, I do. It's exactly what I go for.
Well, my mother bought me a sweater that color.
Really?
And she never take fashion advice from your mother. I said, I'm losing my hair. She goes, wear a wig. She was dead serious. I was like, no.
Wear a wig.
And then she bought me a turquoise sweater, and I put it on because I was like, oh, it's nice because, you don't want to. And she goes, tuck it in. So anyway.
Did she buy you the sweater after the hair thing? Was it?
It was both. It was both.
both.
But the point is I appreciate your shoes.
Well, thank you I appreciate your mother's choice in sweaters.
Thank you, sir. All right, that's my time. Bye, guys.
That's it, guys. That's Bryan Callen.
That's all I had to say.
Dude, we were just saying in the back there, you have got so many amazing things going on right now. I'm going to try to talk about all of it because it's so cool. You've got this fantastic special now on Amazon Prime. Your show, season 2, just like a month ago, we got official word of that. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
So let's get to everything. First things first, with all these wonderful things going on, how the hell are you?
I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm in New York City, my favorite place. This is where I end up writing and coming up with ideas.
Is it really?
Yeah, because first of all, it's vertical, so you're sort of cloistered by these giant walls, and then you cannot help but be involved in humanity. You're bumping into it, you're hearing it, you're smelling it. There's no way to isolate. In LA, man, when you start making money, people get themselves isolated in a big shiny car and a big shiny house. In New York, man, it comes to you. It's like marching in a parade and running a marathon every single day. And there's something, I don't care who you are, there's something about that kind of is very stimulating.
Do you find not only does it spark your creativity and you're inspired here in the city, almost like a muse, if you will? Since LA, you live out in LA, right?
Yeah.
So do you, when you're trying out material, do you come over here to try it out in these crowds? Do you
I just
rely
find,
on the LA
I don't know what it
crowds?
is, but I find like I'm sort of forced to contend with whatever's in front of me. I don't know how to explain it, but it's kind of like, it's very hard not to be kind of stimulated. You don't know what's going to happen. Somebody might hug you or punch you in the face. You never know. And that kind of, it always puts you on, a little bit on edge.
Here
it
they
takes
do both.
endurance to live here, but in a good way.
Yeah. Do you ever write something here that's unique to this region? You go home to LA, you go to a club to try it, and you realize, oh, that's a New York thing.
That doesn't happen anymore. No. When I first started, that's what would happen. You had to write New York material, LA material. Now, because of the internet, the stuff I do now, I can do in Mumbai, India. I can do in Saudi Arabia. I can do in Lebanon. And I've had offers to go to South Africa and all these countries because they get everything. And China. Lebanon? What are you talking about? They get all the jokes. But that's what the internet has done. It's created this sort of, common humanity to an extent. It's also created tribes. It's easier to purify your echo chamber, but you can't help a little bit realizing what it's like to be somebody else.
Do you ever, when you're touring around, do you ever accidentally wander into the wrong echo chamber?
All the time.
All the time.
I'm a chameleon, though. You know what I mean? I'm very good. It's like how I talk about the border. Like I believe in borders. But I'd be a terrible border control agent. You know what I mean? I'd be like, nobody comes across the border. You gotta have your papers. And then I'd be like, oh, they have the kids. Okay, come on. I don't have a backbone.
Well, that's and that exact sort of perspective is what I loved about this special, and what I loved about your work is that I think a lot of comedians right now are talking a lot about, of course, what we can and can't say. And, you know, the people are picking sides, not picking sides. But yours was the most measured, most reasonable, most cohesive. You weren't really picking a side. You weren't trying.
I don't know how to pick a side. It depends on people say, are you right or left? I don't know. Give me the issue. And then usually, again, I talk about it in my special. I'd be a terrible president because I'd be like, I don't know. Sometimes maybe. It depends. Because the more you learn, the harder it is. These are very complicated issues. And I think the biggest thing we need to do is, instead of when you disagree with somebody and just kind of give them the finger and tell them that they're rooted in falsehood and evil, maybe listen to them. Even if you disagree, listen to them, because they may have a couple of ideas you didn't think about. And I call that idea sex. Idea sex, we need an idea orgy. The great groups. Look, man, that's what Google, that's what Pixar, that's what everybody who you know, successful cultures, when you're talking about groups that come up with new ideas and innovative ideas, they listen to each other. They throw a bunch of ideas out there. Nobody's attached to the idea. Let the best idea win. Let the ideas fight it out, or let somebody get pregnant with a new idea. That's how you do it, man. Bad glue on a piece of paper, you got to post it.
Bad glue on a piece of paper.
Terrible metaphor.
No, but I see where you're going.
Well, yeah, thanks, everybody. Write that down. God, he used a Post-it metaphor. Complicated apes. It's not funny, but you'll learn a lot.
Yeah, a lot, especially about Post-its.
Yeah, but that's what I wanted to do. I mean, there's so many ideas that are getting bad. Bad ideas are gaining traction. Right. And now that I'm old, I feel like at least I can, and some people say I'm funny, at least I can use funny to lubricate those ideas and get them into people's heads. Because a lot of great ideas are stuck in books that nobody has time to read, and a lot of great ideas are stuck in the minds of people that are too quiet or bad at communicating those ideas. Yeah, man. So it's up to maybe at least comedy and stand-up is the last bastion of free speech, where I can get up and say, hey, listen, I don't care if this disturbs you, but kiss my ass, because this is how I see it. Yeah. And I'm trying to be fair. I'm not trying to win. I'm not trying to win a debate. I'm trying to persuade you. And that's what we keep forgetting. Like, the public square is way more into destruction and not into persuasion.
How long did it take you? How did you know you were ready to hit record? How did you know you had a solid hour? How long does it take for you to find your special?
You know, it's so funny, man. I did The Joker, right, with Todd Phillips, and I read the script, and I was like, how are you this much of a genius? How'd you do it? He goes, it's my 27th draft. It took me 2 years to write. And I was like, hey, I go, yeah, but still, he goes, how long did it take you to write your special? I go, 2.5 years. Yeah. It takes everything worth it. It's the best thing I've ever done. I hate everything I do. I can't watch anything I do. I can't stand it, and I can't stand the way I look. I can bear to watch that. It's the best thing I've done. But it took me 2.5 years, and I'm like, it's the best I can do.
Did you know that the end was in sight? That like 2.5 years? Like how,
you know, because the audience, the stand-up, you can't fake comedy, man. Yeah. They're either laughing their ass off or they're not. So when I take this all over the world, right? There's at least Canada and the United States. So when you're up there for an hour and 15 minutes and they're laughing the whole time, and it's like music, man. It's like there's a rhythm to it. There's a tempo. It's just like a song. It really is. Like you know when the song is finished. You know when every note and everything is together. And that bit is there, and then pretty soon you've got an hour and 15 minutes of that, and you're taking them on a ride, and then they stand up after you're done. Sorry. But you know you did something. You can't fake laughter. Come on, man. I mean, you can. I don't know. I can't.
People can fake anything.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Saying that.
God, I sound so cocky. It's just so obnoxious. I know when they rise to their feet and they have tears of laughter down their cheeks. I know when they storm the stage and they're tearing at my clothes. I'm finished. I'm done. That's the answer. I suppose I'm a genius.
What else could one take away from that experience?
I don't know. I do it. It comes naturally. I want to hide behind my shoulder.
In your defense, you said this is the first. You've been doing this for a while. This is the first time you felt this way, is what you said.
Look, man, I love when people ask me, like, how do you make it in Hollywood? You got your own TV show. You have this. You're on your third special. You have this huge podcast, man. Is there any steps to take? I'm 52. Do it for 25 years. Sit in traffic through all your 40s, all your 30s, and a lot of your 40s and all your 20s. Just hear the word no over and over and over again.
cracked the
Dude,
code.
success comes at the rate it takes you to kill sparrows with a stone. You understand? If I threw a stone at every sparrow that flew by, I'd probably hit 4 or 5 a year just on pure luck. And you come to my house and I'd have a wall full of sparrows mounted on my, and you'd be like, how'd you kill those sparrows? And I'd be like, I knocked them out of the sky with a stone. And you'd be like, you're a great stone thrower. And I'd be like, not really. I just threw them every day and I hit like 2 or 3 a year. That's what it is. That's what success is. That's my wall full of sparrows metaphor for any of you young people. And you're all young. Nothing comes easy. If I write a self-help book, buy it. Because you won't like it. No, you won't like it. I don't have any shortcuts. It'll be one page and it'll just say, it takes forever.
I got to tell you, this young audience responding really well to the Post-it and Sparrow references. I think you're hitting something.
God, I'm a genius with metaphor. I keep looking at my reflection. I'm getting old. Anyway, sorry.
Do you ever,
my eyes are puffy.
That's just the through the window.
My mother told me to get my eyes done. I swear to God. My mother goes, get your eyes tucked. Get your lids tucked. And I was like, what? And then like the day later, I was like, maybe she has a point.
Yeah, it gets in you. That's like a little
I want to be
seed.
old with like really bad, like those giant, all right, never mind.
Did she thought there was this one phone call, just one harsh phone call with your mother where she was like, you need to get a...
My mother finds everything wrong. She calls me up and she's like, is everything wrong? That's a Richard Lewis joke. I stole that, but it's so true.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Do you feel, so 2.5 years, and I promise this isn't going to be like, tell me about why you're a great thing, but do you feel like you have to, as quickly as everything moves, as quickly as the conversation happens now, do you, at any point in that 2.5 years, do you be like, I got to hurry up and get this thing out before this stuff isn't relevant anymore?
Yes,
Yeah.
I think so. That's the other thing about any kind of, like, I'm only interested in original self-expression. You know, I want to be original. I want to do something that you haven't seen before. And that responsibility never goes away. It's very difficult to do. But there is something, I think when you're telling the truth, and I think if you really, first of all, it's very important to immerse yourself in the best that's been thought and said. That's why I always tell young people to read. Read and get good at something. I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's the guitar. I don't care if it's jiu-jitsu. I promise you'll learn a lot about yourself when you get good at a language, any kind of language, guitar, piano, dance, jiu-jitsu, boxing, I don't care what it is. And then on top of that, read broadly. Read great literature. Don't get your information from Fox and CNN. That's not where to get your information from. Read good books, read magazines that matter, not people. All due respect. I mean, seriously, there's something to be said about that. But I mean, for the most part, try to read a lot, and you'll broaden your understanding, and you'll broaden your passion. And you won't be. You know what education's great for? You know what? You know why you should read, and you know why you should listen to people smarter than you are. And there are plenty of podcasts out there for that. It will teach you the difference between a good idea and a bad idea. That's the best way I can say it. That's why education is important. You don't have to go to college. You can get it online. You can listen to great lectures on YouTube. You can listen to great podcasts. You can listen to great books on tape. But the reason you do that is because you will be able to recognize the difference between a good idea and a bad idea. And when bad ideas get a hold of you and get a hold of a society and get a hold of our world, people die. So I guess that's why I wrote my special. Death, ladies and gentlemen. Watch my special or die. That's the point.
That was
I'm
the original
making.
title, right?
That's exactly right. And we are complicated apes. And I say complicated because we're not, we're not nouns. We treat each other like nouns. Immigrant, Muslim, gay, straight, Republican, Democrat, black, white, brown, Asian. 48 countries in Asia. So what are you talking about? The individuals are way too complicated to categorize with one word, 10 words. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. Individuals are too complicated. So treat everybody as an individual when they're in front of you. You don't know what that person is worth. You have no idea where they're smart, where they're intelligent. That's what I always say about like bravery. I'm brave when it comes to, I know guys who fight 6 guys in a bar, but they don't have the courage to quit a job they hate. You know what I'm saying? And intelligence is the same thing. I'm smart when it comes to comedy. That part of my brain's got big muscles. But if I have to do anything that requires any kind of assembly, if I have to assemble anything, even Lego, I'm like, I freak out. I tried to put a child's bed together. I couldn't. It was so easy. I called my buddy, I gave him $300 to put the bed together. The bed cost $400. And he came over with his tools. He goes, bro, it's 4 slats in a frame. I can't take your money. I was like, I'll take this butter knife. I'll stick it in my throat right now. Fix it. Yeah, I can't. So
I didn't realize until watching the special here, I was surprised to find out how much of your youth you spent traveling the world.
Yeah.
Which
I lived in 7 different countries until I was 14.
Which on paper, I couldn't tell if that sounds like romantic or while you're developing, if that's a freaking nightmare. Like, I don't know which
It was
one
amazing.
It is.
I mean, I was born in the Philippines. I lived in Calcutta, then Mumbai in India, which was Bombay back then. Then I moved to Lebanon. Then I moved to Pakistan. Then I moved back to Lebanon. The war broke out. Then I was evacuated to Greece. Then I lived in Saudi Arabia. And when I was 14 years old, I went to boarding school in Massachusetts. And then I went to college down in Washington, D.C. And then I went to New York. And then I went to L.A. But in the middle of all that, when I was 14, I traveled to Africa. I was in China when it was still very communist and everybody wore the same outfit and were on bicycles. I was in Russia when it was communist. I was in Yemen. I was in Kenya, Tanzania. So when you grow up around all those different kinds of people, all those different cultures, all those different colors, what you realize is that, guess what? People are basically the same. They may have different practices and beliefs, but overall, I know that they're all, like when people say, well, they're fanatics over there, or these people, nah, I don't believe that. They just want a better life for their kids, and you'd have way more in common than someone in an Afghan village, in a Saudi Arabian city, in an African Ethiopian town than you wouldn't. I promise you, and I know that firsthand. So, in that sense, it's impossible to go back when you know something like that. Yeah. And I don't think we're talking well. I don't think we're treating each other that way. I worry about that. I think we're getting very puritanical. I think we're getting very tribal. I think we're drawing these very strong lines, and you have to be on one team or you're a traitor. No, man. I'm not. I don't know what I am. It depends. Maybe sometimes.
And that's exactly, and that's what I meant by I like your perspective, your take, your point of view, and I really dug what you did in this special.
Thank you.
So it's a great special. It's Complicated Apes. It's on Amazon Prime. We're not done yet.
I know. It's streaming live. I think it's streaming for free. Yeah.
Oh, really? On Amazon Prime, you can stream. Just go watch it. Real quick, because we're going to get to the audience in a minute, but I mentioned this at the top. Season 2, Schooled, huge deal. Congratulations. That's wonderful news. Let's hold for applause for Season 2.
Take it easy, guys. Take it easy.
Absolutely huge fan. I love your work as the character, as Coach, and like I'm very curious. When they came to you before season 1 and they said, "We're thinking of spinning you off," what did you think?
I said, that doesn't happen. That's impossible. I don't listen to it. In today's world, I got this whole journey started on the Goldbergs when they gave me a 1 episode. They said, "You want to do this thing?" And he's a gym teacher from the 80s. And I was like, "I'll just play my dad in shorts." And it worked. And, he was talking about Ronald Reagan. I was like, I know how to play that guy. Yeah. So, and then it just became this thing that they just kept having me come back more and more and more, which was incredible. And then they said they're going to give you because some other people were interested in giving me a show. Yeah. And Adam Goldberg said, "We're thinking about giving you a spinoff." And I was like, that doesn't happen. Nothing. Whenever they tell you something's going to work out in Hollywood, it never does. I know this after 25 years, but this time it did. So.
And in 1, it's a really good show, but 2, it's also doing really well. It's like unheard of. You got maybe Frasier. How many times has a show been able to spin off and still work and still resonate with its audiences? It's a really hard thing to do.
It's funny you say Frasier because the only shows I've ever seen, I've never done anything TV-wise, film-wise, where I didn't improvise. Like The Hangover, that guy wasn't even supposed to be Lebanese. He was written as a guy from New York. "You don't remember me? I'm Eddie. You don't." But I played him like this because he should have if he's a wedding chapel, then he should be from Armenia or Lebanon or something like this. And they loved the idea. But so I've always been allowed to improvise and do my thing. The Goldbergs and Schooled, I'm telling you, the writing is so good. I never have to do it. It's unbelievable.
Because especially when I was watching your special and the way in which you described, I think it was your wife's legs, it just reminded me of like a Coach Mellor kind of like description and an attack. And I was curious how much of that you're finding and you're bringing, and how much of them is just knowing you and writing it and like nailing it. Like,
yeah, I don't know, man. I think a lot of it was they just kind of they saw what I did with the character, and maybe it's a combination. Every film, every TV is always a cooperative effort. You just it's everybody's got their point of view. The actor has their point of view, the writer has his point of view or her point of view, the director has their point of view, and usually it's best if it starts to clash, and then you kind of come up with a better idea. It's called idea sex. That's what happens with good movies. So it can work for our society as well. So.
Idea sex is a universal concept.
I think so. We get smarter. This is why you should appropriate culture. That's what this country's built on. We're a melting pot. You get smarter when you mix. You get smarter when you learn from other people. You ever see like a culture that's been totally isolated and had no contact with any other culture? They're not that advanced. We get smarter when we come into contact with each other and we share ideas. That's a fact. So I'm a big believer in mixing it all up.
Yeah, absolutely. I would be crazy. You mentioned it casually. I got to ask you, Todd Phillips' Joker. Can you tell us anything about your experience on what I imagine to be a
I got to work. It was very interesting because Todd Phillips is a genius, and I was called up to come and play this character. I'm not wearing a shirt the whole time. I'll tell you that much.
Fantastic.
Thank you so much. And the whole time I'm like, I don't know. I got to do push-ups.
Eat for a year when you were.
I'm so shredded, but. But it was interesting to work. Joaquin Phoenix was there, and he's such a good actor, and he's in character the whole time. And I was there for like 4 days. He didn't even look. We're right there. I mean, I didn't say hi or goodbye because he was the character, and I was just the guy. And it was just like, all right, man. I've never been around that. If that's what it takes to be a great actor, keep it, because I can't do it. I'll stick to comedy and I'd rather be a professional jackass. That's a masochistic process. But I think he's going to win an Oscar. I've been around this business for so long. I saw him doing these scenes, and you never knew what he was going to do. I was just like, what's going to happen? I saw him do a scene, and I went, he's going to win an Oscar. It was that good.
Is that intimidating to work next to, or are you been?
It would have been when I was younger. Now,
Exactly.
I don't care. But it would have been before that.
That's awesome.
I mean, that's what happens. As you get older, you lose your reverence. Shut up. I'm good at what I do too, bro. All right? I don't care who I'm around. De Niro, Sean Penn, you're a great actor. You can't do what I do. You can't do stand-up. Come on, step on stage, see what happens. I'll give you 15 minutes,
That's got to be so
we're
liberating.
all good at what we do.
I can't wait to arrive at that point.
Well, youngin', let me take out my dentures and I'll tell you my story. Yeah.
We joke about that it does come with age, but has it really? Like, do you remember the moment you felt comfortable and you didn't give a shit about that stuff anymore?
Yeah, I think it's a slow process. It's not like, in the movies usually like you train and all of a sudden you have this enlightened moment. Right. I don't think life is that way.
Montage.
No, man, life is a slow either deletion or attrition. I think what happened was I learned that I heard somebody say, mental strength is learning what not to think about and learning what not to indulge in. And so we're usually told that we have to add something to our personality, and I think sometimes leave yourself alone. We have a culture that doesn't really make you feel very good about yourself. Women especially. Oh, I'd hate to be a woman. Man, it's hard. I mean, I would. It's so hard. Just keeping up with fashion. The amount of money you got to spend that they make you spend on clothing every new season and makeup. I mean, I don't think it must be exhausting, But I think that sometimes you should get to a point where you're like, I'm not going to listen to this noise anymore. I'm just not going to do it anymore. And I'm going to do what feels right and what's honest. And I think all of us, I think that in many ways we have a culture that makes money off of making us feel that we are lacking something. And so, God, I'm given like this. What am I, Tony Robbins? But I mean, I just feel like once I learned, there are two things I heard. I heard Stephen Jobs say, once I learned that the world was made by people who are no smarter than I am, I realized I could do whatever I wanted. I'm not saying I'm as smart as Stephen Jobs, but I heard that, and I was like, as you get older, you do realize that people who are really good at stuff have just been doing it a long time, right? And they figured out what they're supposed to do. So maybe you lose a little bit of your reverence for, you don't worship false idols, I suppose, So maybe that's what it is. I don't know.
Nice. Kate's giving me the signal here. We got some questions in the
Kate.
room. Hi, Kate. Thank you so much for that. The first question is coming to us from you with the mic. Go for
Hi,
it.
Bryan. What's your go-to karaoke song?
Great question.
Sister Christian, oh, the time has come. Night Ranger, Sister Christian. Because I can't sing, but I like to do that one.
You don't need to sing for karaoke.
Thank you. I like pretending. I like really trying to sing when I do karaoke. Like I try and it's embarrassing.
About
It's got to be about that.
karaoke is trying.
Motorin, yeah.
Perfect. I got one more. Let me do one more question. What do we got? Come on down.
Hi, you've been to a lot of places, obviously. Is there anywhere that you haven't been yet that you still want to go?
South America. All of South America, because I want to be a dancer and speak Spanish. I want to dance. I swear to God, I want people to go, what do you do? And I want to go, I dance. I swear to God. And what else do you do? Nothing. I just dance. For me, it's life. Thank you. I know. I hope you learned everything, guys.
Brian, I think we learned all the things. That was
That's what I'm
perfect.
talking about.
Thank you so much for spending this time with us and hanging out with me.
You
man.
make it easy, brother. You make
Stop!
it
You
easy.
did all the heavy lifting, sir.
Stop it. I want to eat your shoes. They look delicious.
One of the left one's yours.
Great.
Complicated
Candy!
Apes. Complicated Apes is on Amazon Prime right now. The Fighter and the Kid is one of the most downloaded podcasts in the world. So if you aren't listening to it, go ahead and listen to it. School Season 2 coming soon. Season 1 on Hulu.
So successful.
I know you got so much.
Only took me a quarter of a century.
Anything else that I didn't plug that you want
That's
to
it.
plug?
What else do I get? That's
I don't know.
I
Upcoming
don't even know what to
stand-up
do.
dates. Go to Brian.
Oh yeah. By the way, I'll be in at the Tempe Improv June 20th, 21st, and 22nd. Get your tickets if you're in Tempe, Arizona, and then I'll be in Spokane, Washington in July. I don't know when exactly, but look on my website, bryancallen.com.
BryanCallen.com.
Or
There you go.
tfatk.com.
Everybody, please make a ridiculous amount of noise because this is a great man. Bryan Callen, thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks, bro.